Good day. My name is Michael Felcho, and I am from Fairfax County Department of Transportation Transit Services Division. And I'm going to present the Reston Herndon bus service plan for the Silver Line Phase 2. The presentation will include an outline, a timeline of the items that have occurred over the last 2 years in preparation for this service implementation, an overview of the analysis that was conducted, the public outreach efforts, the three alternatives, along with the preferred plan, with the hopes that we could gather additional information from you, the public, and the riding public on ways to improve our preferred plan. First, I would like to go over this process that we've done over the last year or so. We first gathered and got a good understanding of the issues that were out there in the existing system. We conducted several outreach efforts, evaluated the system, and developed three alternatives, which then presented to the public. We received input from the public on those three alternatives, developed a preferred plan, which we're now introducing out to the public and the riding public. Our hope is to get input from you so we can make adjustments to the preferred plan, final recommendation to the board. Our outreach included a market survey that was countywide, an onboard bus survey that was also countywide. We also did an online survey and several public meetings that detailed information around the needs of the individuals in the Reston Herndon area. The market survey identified what were the needs of individuals who did not use transit and those that used to use transit. While the onboard survey looked at the present riders and their origin and destinations, along with demographic informations and characteristics, finally understanding their basic trip patterns and needs for the transit services. The market survey, we got over 2,600 respondents, onboard survey, over 2,500, and the online surveys and public outreach, we received over 1,500 respondents. What we learned from this outreach effort is that our riders and individuals who are interested in using transit are mostly interested in improving connectivity, faster travel, greater span of service, and increased frequency. So we looked at ways to make these improvements by realigning routes, by reducing unneeded travel patterns, and applying more resources to those routes that would give an increase in access and mobility for both span of service and frequency. We developed three alternatives. Each one of these alternatives attempted to achieve the items that I just mentioned. Alternative one used the existing system and added and took away and realigned the route structures, but pretty much kept the system as the way we know it. Alternative two streamlined the system and made realignments. Alternative three was a restart of the system, starting with a blank slate and making improvements and redesigning the system from scratch. All these alternatives were done in a budget neutral, so no additional resources needed. The development of the preferred plan included elements of all three alternatives based on public input. When we compare the three alternatives in the areas based on key locations, how long it took an individual to travel from point A to point B on one of these systems, and the transit propensity, which is the transit market, individuals who need transit, we found that alternative three scored the highest in all three of these categories. again, versus alternative 1 and 2 against the existing. In addition to those 3 categories, there are several other categories, and that included frequency factors and span of service. So starting from the left of the screen, we had transit propensity. Once again, these are individuals who need transit, low-income populations, households with 1 to 0 vehicles, minority populations, seniors, and disabled. We also had frequency factors. This is looking at each route of each alternative and giving it a score between 0 and 2.5. The higher the better the frequency, the higher the score, the better the alternative. The same with span of service. The hours of operations. The greater the hours of operations of each route, the greater the span of service was, and the greater the score for its span of service for that alternative. The average travel time was taking a look at the top 10 origin and destination pairs to create an average travel time per alternative. These top 10 origin and destination pairs were based off of the onboard survey that we conducted last year. Key locations included major employment centers, schools, colleges, hospitals, park and ride lots, metro stations, and recreational centers. The information that went into the evaluation is as follows. As you can see on this table, we have the existing alternative 1, 2, and 3, and the preferred plan. Now, as I said before, alternative 1, 2, and 3 are now elements as part of elements of the preferred plan. So when we compare the preferred plan to the existing service levels presently out there, we see that the preferred plan is significantly better in many areas than the existing for both transit populations, frequency, span of service, average travel time, and key locations, especially in the area of a population and travel time and key locations. A summary of the preferred plan is that we were able to increase connectivity into Chantilly and Centerville, connect to the Northern Virginia Community College in Loudoun County, link Herndon to Sterling, improve the average frequency from 30 to 20 minutes, improve span of service, create more direct routes, shorten travel time, increase access to major employment centers for transit-dependent populations, maintain coverage on bus stops in most locations, provide access to middle and high schools, while all staying budget neutral, adding no significant resources to the system. A map of this preferred plan can be found on the website below. That is www.fairfaxcounty.gov, connector, sites, connector, files, assets, documents, PDF, Reston Herndon view, preferred plan peak. If you go to this website, you'll be able to get a copy of the map that's on this slide, and you can look at each individual route. There will be other opportunities to look at individual routes later on. As a fast facts, we broke down the information into 3 major areas to show the benefit of the preferred plan compared to the existing in terms of average travel time, population, and frequency. Average travel time, we looked at those 10 major origin and destinations. These were from Herndon to Reston, from Herndon Middle School, Herndon High School to the Reston Town Center to the Pentagon, Franklin Farms to Herndon, and so on. Taking a look at those major travel corridors and patterns, we find that the average travel time of the preferred plan is an improvement of 14%. That's a 14% decrease in the average travel time. For population, minority population, household, and low income, we see that there's a significant increase between the population that's covered in the existing versus the population that's covered in the preferred plan. Most of these have increased to nearly 20% in all 4 of these categories. The last table on this slide is the population and jobs served within a quarter mile of peak service. Taking a look at those routes that provide better than 20-minute frequencies, we compared the existing system, both population and jobs, to the preferred. And as you can see here, for both population and jobs, the preferred plan does significantly better than the existing. So we increase the population and jobs that receive an increase or an improved frequency of better than 20 minutes. And this continues in the area of 21 to 30 minutes. There is a decrease in the number of people that are served at over 30 minutes because there's an inverse relationship that there's better frequency to more jobs and more population in the preferred system than in the existing. When we developed the preferred plan, we had certain transit parameters, weekdays and weekends. On weekdays, we wanted to make sure that the peak hours are between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. In the afternoon, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And during peak frequencies, we wanted routes to run between 15 and 30-minute frequencies. Off-peak, between 20 and 60. On weekends, we wanted to make sure that the preferred plan operated primarily in the area of 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and have frequencies between 20 and 60 minutes. The following are a series of sample routes sheets. And these sample route sheets are also all listed on the website when you go on, and you'll see a route sheet for every one of the preferred routes of the preferred plan. And each one of these include a map, days of service, hours of service, frequency, key locations served, schools, hospitals served, and transfer opportunities to Metro Rail and other transit services. You can get this information on the following website, www.fairfaxcounty.gov, Connector, Reston Herndon Bus Service Review, Survey Preferred. If you go to this website, you will see a list of routes that you can click on, answer 2 very short questions, and see not only the schedule, the draft schedule, but you will also see these route sheets, providing you as much detail as possible on every one of the preferred plan's routes. And here's a sample. Route 553 is a feeder route, meaning that it will operate primarily during peak hours. It's in a northbound, southbound direction. It will connect the Reston Town Metro Rail Center to the Herndon Metro Rail Station and connect all the way up to the Herndon High School, as you can see from the map. It connects to 2 schools, 3 activity centers, 2 Metro Rail stations, 2 parking lots, and 5 human service centers. It runs on a 20-minute frequency. So once you review this route sheet, you can then go to the 2 questions and answer the 2 questions. Another sample is a new route, Route 921. This is a local routes operate in most circumstances, operate all day and on weekends. It's also a loop operating from downtown Herndon to the Herndon Metro Rail Station. This connects to one Metro Rail station, 3 activity centers, and 1 park and ride lot, along with 1 school. Route 950 is an existing route that's been modified so that we can increase the frequency from 20 to 15 minutes. This is a local route operating all weekdays and weekends in an east-west direction with improved frequencies, running from 5 a.m. to 1 a.m. on the weekdays. And on the weekends, operating 20 or 30-minute frequency, depending on Saturday or Sunday's schedule, and operating from 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. This route primarily stays the same alignment, except for those areas along the toll road. We remove those and reinvest it into the route, so individuals who take this route will have better service through greater frequency. Route 952 is a feeder route traveling east-west. There's an improved frequency and provides new connections. This is a peak hour service operating on 20-minute frequencies. It connects from the Dulles corridor to the Metro Rail stations from Vienna all the way over to Wheelie, connecting to all 4 of the new Metro Rail stations. This allows a circulation of anyone who is trying to get to Reston Herndon area for employment to be able to exit the Metro Rail stations, enter onto this route, and be quickly shuttled between the major employment centers along the tollway corridor. The RIBS routes will all continue, RIBS 1 through 5. A sample of that is RIBS 2. This route has been adjusted. The frequencies have been adjusted to be more reliable, and it will function in an east-west direction. This is also, all the RIBS routes will maintain their span of service for weekdays and weekends. As you can see here, the weekday service will run from 5 a.m. to midnight. At peak, 20 minutes, off-peak, 30 minutes, and operating on Saturday and Sunday from 6 a.m. to midnight at 30-minute frequencies. You can see here also in the bottom that this route will connect to 2 Metro Rail stations, 3 activity centers. So you can easily get from the Wheelie Reston Metro Rail up to the Reston Town Center. You can also get from the Herndon Metro Rail station over to the Wheelie Reston Metro Rail station. You can go to our website and see each one of these routes and all their detail, and take the questions and provide us additional information that we may use to make the routes better. To sum up the routes that we have in the preferred plan, the next several slides look at individual routes. There are many routes that we have not made significant adjustments to, like 507. This route is pretty much the same as it is presently today, operating at 25-minute frequencies, no major change. Route 574, which operates from the Reston Town Center to the West Park Transit Center in Tysons, remains pretty much the same. We've just shortened the travel time a little bit and improved some frequencies. Route 599 remains the same, no major change. We did some changes to 605 based on public comment. People wanted a shorter travel time. So we split the route so that it has a more direct travel time between Reston and Fair Oaks Mall and the Government Center. A new route, 615, was created to connect the hospital to Stringfellow and Fair Oaks Parkway areas over to Government Center and the Fair Oaks Mall. These two routes will be interconnected at both Fair Oaks Mall and the hospital, Fair Oaks Hospital. There are also two other new routes, Route 901 and 921. 901 connects the Herndon Metro Rail Station southward along Centerville Road to US 50, south to Lee Road to Stone Road, all the way to the Centerville parking lot. This is a local connector that will connect the Dulles Corridor and Chantilly Centerville to Reston Herndon on a 30-minute peak and 60-minute off-peak. I already showed you the new route 921 as a loop route in the town of Herndon. The final slide shows you the 5 RIBS routes. What we did here was we attempted to make sure that each RIBS route maintained a good level of service by providing improved connectivity. We also had, since March, several comments about individuals that have already taken the survey and identified that there's a need for further evaluation along Soapstone Road and Lawyers Lane. And that would be covered by a proposed Route 557, as you can see here on this slide. Also, Route 981, which was to be eliminated as it is a duplicate of the Silver Line Phase 2 Metro Rail line. There were some comments that additional service in the evening from the airport to the Reston Town Center transit station was needed. So these two routes are under further evaluation. So what's next? Continued board input, conducting public meetings, which we're doing right now, public outreach, an online presence, taking your input and refining the preferred plan. We'll then take that preferred plan and bring it to the board for approval later this year. Once we have approval, we will then implement the service once the Silver Line Phase 2 rail line is ready for operations. So how can you provide your feedback to us? Go online, take our online survey at www.fairfaxcounty.gov, connector, Reston Herndon Bus Service Review Survey Preferred. Or you can email us at fairfaxconnector@fairfaxcounty.gov or call us at 703-339-7200. We need your comments because it's very important for us to get your feedback to make modifications to the preferred plan by July 17th at 5 p.m. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope that you take the time to go into the survey, provide us your vital input so that we can improve the transit system in the Reston Herndon area. Thank you very much and have a safe day.